Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Johns Hopkins School of Education Postmaster Certificate in Applied Behavior Analysis virtual webinar. My name is Sion John. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Also presenting today, I have my colleague from the Office of Admissions, and she will introduce herself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tanya McMillan. I am an admissions coordinator here at the School of Education.
And we also have Professor and Faculty Lead, Dr. Tamara Marder, and two ABA alums, Lillian Fabian and Bethany Fitzgerald, joining us today. And before we get started, I would like to cover a few housekeeping topics. First, today's webinar is being recorded. We will be able to share a link with you after the event is complete. And please take a second to see if your mic is on mute right now. Please have your mic on mute and video off at all times during the presentation. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Please type your question in the chat box and we will read and answer your questions. And next, I would like to share the agenda for today's virtual webinar. We will kick off the presentation sharing an overview of the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Then Dr. Marder will go over the details of the ABA program. We also have two alums of the program and they will share their program experience at SOE. Lastly, I'll wrap it up with admissions requirements and leave the floor open for questions at the end. And again, please keep in mind to type your question in the chat box at the end of the presentation. And to start, we are one of 9 schools at Johns Hopkins University. We began offering college courses for teachers in 1909 and then became our own school in 2007. And we're proud to share that the Johns Hopkins School of Education is consistently ranked one of top schools in education by the U.S. News and World Report. And for school enrollment, we have approximately 2,465 students and offer more than 30 graduate programs, which includes doctoral, master's, and graduate certificate programs. And we have a strong network of over 22,000 SOE alums. And for faculty introduction, Dr. Marder is the program lead for the ABA program. She has worked in the field of applied behavior analysis since 1994. Her research interests include improving learning outcomes for students with developmental disabilities and autism through effective training and preparation of educators and professionals who provide educational services. And this includes training educators on implementing evidence-based practices with fidelity and preparing special educators in the field of applied behavior analysis. And at this time, I would like to hand the floor over to Dr. Marder.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to have you join us this afternoon to hear more about our program. I'm looking forward to sharing a lot of details and hearing your questions as we get to the end of the presentation. So most of you are here because you do know a little bit about applied behavior analysis, and my hope is that you want to learn more about the field. And so just a quick overview of ABA. What is applied behavior analysis? It is the scientific study of the principles of learning and behavior. So understanding how we learn, how humans learn, and how they behave and interact with their environment. Applied behavior analysis is a very specific approach to applying these principles of learning to improve what we call socially important behavior for all individuals. So these are all the behaviors that we need to learn and engage in order to have an impact in our world. The Board Certified Behavior Analyst certification is a graduate level certification. So as most of you know, you are here to find out about a postmaster certificate. This program will lead to that certification in behavior analysis. Okay, next Slide, please. Thank you. So ABA is, a lot of times people ask, what do practitioners of behavior analysis do? And so here, and this is straight from the Behavior Analyst Certification Board website, these are some of the activities that most behavior analysts engage in. So conducting behavioral assessments, analyzing data, collecting that data, making data, what we call database decisions for learning to improve instruction and improve outcomes for students, writing and revising behavior analytic plans, training others to implement those plans, and then overseeing those plans, and pretty much the content of the 5th edition task list, which is a task list that is outlined, developed by the Behavior Analyst Certification Board, that outlines all of these skills necessary for a behavior analyst. This 5th edition task list is really what guides all of the curriculum in our certificate program. Okay, we can move on. Okay, so looking at our program, it is designed specifically for educators. So really looking at how do we practice or apply the principles of applied behavior analysis in a school setting. So our program is specifically designed for special educators, general educators, folks who coordinate programs, administrators. We have school psychologists who have gone through our program and school counselors, as well as speech and language pathologists. So our program will teach candidates to learn the evidence-based practices of behavior analysis to meet the needs of students, specifically who receive special education services. The program also supports goals, the career goals of teachers and other educators who desire this specialized training and want to become board certified. The coursework is made up of, the program is made up of 7 courses, so it's a total of 21 credits. That coursework is aligned with, like I just mentioned a few seconds ago, aligned with the 5th edition task list from the BACB. We also offer, as part of, so if you take the 7 courses, that allows you to be eligible to take the exam, the BCBA exam, under the course requirements. We also offer practicum electives, which I'm going to go into a little bit more detail in a few slides. This is an additional 12 credits that enables you to get the supervised experience hours that are required to become eligible to sit for the exam and to become board certified. So the program can be completed in 3 years. And one of the benefits of our program is our faculty, all of whom are board certified behavior analysts at the doctoral level. So I mentioned before about our coursework being aligned with the 5th edition task list. We are a verified course sequence. Our course sequence is verified by the Association for Behavior Analysis International. They are the professional organization for behavior analysis, and they verify all of the courses. So all of our courses have been vetted through ABAI, and they are verified to meet the requirements for the 5th edition coursework. So the way our program is set up is that all candidates can complete the program and the course electives with over 6 semesters, so that's 3 years, taking 2 courses each semester. We do not have courses offered in the summer. They're only offered during the fall and spring semesters. All of our courses are offered in the evening in a central location here in Maryland, in Columbia, Maryland, and they are offered 2 nights a week. The one thing that's really great about when the courses are offered is it's after school. Once, if people are working in K through 12 setting, you can still work full time and then go to school in the evening, go to graduate school in the evening. We also, the way the program is set up for the practicum experiences, or what we call the supervised experiences, are planned according to students' current place of employment, as long as ABA services can be provided within that place of employment. Or we also help our students find appropriate placements through our practicum coordinator. So this is a nice snapshot, excuse me, of the 3 years here in the program. The first semester is all coursework, where you would take 4 of the core courses. You can see them in front of you. Our intro to applied behavior analysis is exactly what it sounds like. I kind of joke with my students that this is going to a new country and learning the language of ABA. So we spend a lot of time understanding all the principles of learning and behavior. And then the second course in the first year, fall semester, is our research methods course. So this really looks at how do we collect data? How do we evaluate the data that we collect? It's important not only to collect the data, but how do we accurately evaluate the data and make decisions? The spring semester, our students move into a course on challenging behaviors. So how do we assess those challenging behaviors? How do we implement a functional analysis, determine function, and develop an appropriate behavior intervention plan for students? And then we also have our course on ethics and professional conduct. So how do we behave ethically as behavior analysts, and how do we develop ourselves professionally? Then we go into the second year of the program, the fall semester. We move into a course on instructional strategies. So in this course, although challenging behaviors and instructional strategies really go hand in hand, right? Because when we're reducing a behavior, we also want to teach a new behavior. So in that course, we're really looking specifically on instructional strategies to increase behaviors or specific skills that we want to see in a classroom setting. And then also during the fall semester of the second year, students who elect to enroll in the practicum with us would take their practicum 1 elective. Again, I'll get into the practicum in a few minutes. And then the spring semester, students take the second practicum elective, and they also will enroll in our newest class, which is our supervision and consultation practices. If any of you are following the BACB and the requirements to become board certified, which I hope you are, the supervision and consultation is an added course that is part of the 5th edition of the coursework, which really delves into how do we supervise and consult, how do we supervise others to change behaviors that will impact the students and the learners that we serve. So that course really goes into supervising other people and how do we consult in a school setting. Typically behavior analysts who spend time in schools and also working with families and other agencies really work to consult with other people. So we focus in on those consultation skills. And then we move into the third year of the program, where we have our final course, which is the applications of ABA in the classroom, which is a really neat course. And I'm also getting ready to teach that course tomorrow night, so I'm getting excited about this course. But it's a really interesting course because we really look at special issues in education as it relates to applied behavior analysis. So we spend a lot of time looking at all these different special issues within the field. And then also we spend a lot of time during that semester preparing for the exam. So the BCBA exam. So we work on skills to learn in order to prepare for the exam. So what kind of things can you work on to study and prepare for the exam? And then students would do the third elective for the practicum. And then finally, the last semester of the spring semester of the third year, students would only take 1 course, which is the last practicum elective. Okay, next slide. That was a long one. Okay, so here are our learning outcomes. You can see that they really align with the 5th edition task list, but really being able to understand these concepts and principles, define, demonstrate, and apply these principles of behavior analysis, use research methods to evaluate outcomes, be able to conduct and implement behavior assessments for both instructional strategies and for behavior reduction, to design those types of programs and evaluate them, to practice under the ethical guidelines, and then to implement, manage, and practice in an applied setting. And the final most important learning outcome is for all students to successfully complete the Behavior Analyst Certification Board and become board certified behavior analysts. Okay, so let's talk about our practicum experience. So our practicum courses are designed to meet the concentrated experience fieldwork that is outlined by the BACB. If you are familiar with the practicum or the experience fieldwork requirements that the BACB has established, there are two types of requirements. We follow the concentrated experience requirements, which includes a total of 1,500 hours of fieldwork experience where you're working in an educational setting, applying the principles of behavior analysis, being able to work with a supervisor who is a board certified behavior analyst. So we provide these supervised experiences in an educational setting. We have two options, not really options, but two ways to get that supervision. One is through an individual supervisor that we vet for all of our students. So we have to make sure that our supervisors meet all of the requirements. So we take care of that on our end. And then we will assign our students a supervisor who's board certified, where they get individual supervision, 1.5 hours per week. And then students also get 1 hour of what we call group supervision as part of the practicum course. They get that supervision 1 hour a week. And so students are able to accrue 25 hours per week over 15 weeks. You multiply that by 4 semesters and you get 1,500 hours. So we're able to get all of those hours completed in 4 semesters of practicum. Okay. So some additional information regarding our courses and our program. Once students complete all 7 courses, then they and they can complete them successfully, then they can receive a postmaster's certificate from Johns Hopkins School of Education. If students elect to take the practicum courses with us, once they complete all of the hours, the supervised hours, then they are eligible to sit for the exam. This will enable them to be eligible to sit for the exam. Students are responsible for applying and supplying all documents to the Behavior Analyst Certification Board and scheduling the exam. We do not provide that for our students, but we do provide you with lots of guidance on completing the application and making sure you have all of the documentation to be able to sit for the exam. It's important to know that we don't award certification in behavior analysis. We award the certificate from the School of Education, and it is expected that all students who go through our program will pursue the certification, the BCBA certification, once they complete the program. Okay, so now I'm going to hand it over to our alumni, and then we'll come back to me. I'll give you some more details about the program, but our first alumnus is Lillian Fabian. She's a recent graduate. She graduated this summer in 2020. She is a special educator from Prince George's County. She is in the infants and toddlers program in Prince George's County. We also have Bethany, who will be speaking after Lillian, who is a K-2 special educator from Baltimore County. She also just graduated in June 2020. And so we're really excited to have them speak to you about their experiences in the program. So Lillian, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you, Dr. Marder, for having me. It's a pleasure to be able to participate in this webinar and to share some of my experience and how this program has helped me to achieve my career goals. So one of the things I loved the most about this program was the ability to have a cohort to go through this journey together with people that we could relate to. We had the same interest and passion about students in special education. Secondly, I also liked that I had the opportunity to have those classes and participated in person. I know with COVID, things have changed a little bit, but still, it is nice to have that ability to meet in person. It does make a big difference when you're learning those really difficult, sometimes hard concepts, and being together and be able to hear your peers asking questions and being able to get that feedback from the professors were just really great instead of just doing, those classes online. So that really made a big difference for me as well. During the time that I was here in this program with Johns Hopkins, I was able to expand the minimal knowledge I had about ABA, and now now I have a much better understanding about the science and how, it can be applied and relate to all areas of our lives. So I have learned so much, just being part of this program. I'm a more efficient and more passionate special educator as I work with my younger students and my families. In my current position, I have the opportunity to spend most of the time working and coaching parents on how to understand and use and apply some of the ABA principles with their children, to help address problem behaviors, communication and social skills, and also some learning strategies. One of my favorite things I would say that I learned was really how the science of ABA came about and how it continues to be current and so relevant more than ever, in not only in the field of autism or education, but also in all areas. We can see how ABA can be applied. I have also learned and come to love the systematic and technological principles of ABA and the importance that the field will apply into the ethics of using the science and also the application in the as professionals, our professional practices of the science. Well, the faculty is just amazing. I will say, they are very active in the field, which is great. They have hands-on experience to share. They're knowledgeable, compassionate. They're always available to provide extra support if needed, advice and encouragement. The content can be difficult at times. However, the classes were always very engaging and there was lots of Kahoots too. So that was fun. The last thing I would like to share is what I did not quite expect when I started the program. And that was really the amount of work, right? The writing, reading journal articles, papers and assignments that we have to do. And the only reason I share this is not to scare or discourage anyone, but really to assure you that this is a good sign that you are receiving a really good education that you can get in this field, and that will push you to learn and to be prepared and ready to apply this knowledge in your work. And also the structure that they have in regards to the supervision hours. As I learned more about, the process of doing this and how organized you need to be to keep track of your hours. And I see so many people sometimes having to do that on their own. It's really difficult. So this is a really big plus that this program has to offer in helping with that part. And also, the most important part of this journey is to pass the BCBA certification exam. And that's really going to help you being part of a program that's so structured and that pushes you to do your best. So finally, I was really surprised and pleased with the high standards and expectations delivered in this program and how it has directed me and really elevated my career skills, giving me now endless and future possibilities as a BCBA. Thank you.
Thank you, Lillian. Well, I share a lot of the same thoughts as Lillian. The program at Hopkins has truly been my single most rich professional development experience that I have ever had in my entire career. The faculty all work in different roles as BCBAs, and they all have very different teaching styles when it comes to delivering the material, but they are all superb teachers. They are passionate and dedicated to supporting everyone in the cohort, and they are all experts in the field of behavior analysis. And like Lillian said, they are all very active in the field and passionate as well. Dr. Marder kind of touched on the practicum experience. My supervisor during my practicum was absolutely phenomenal. He provided meaningful feedback and took the time to explain concepts that were really challenging for me. We took a lot of time to dissect the task list, which really helped me when it came to studying for the exam. He offered to help study with me and also offered additional professional development opportunities through his clinic and through different like conferences and things like that. The program, some of the things I didn't expect to learn were to sharpen my soft skills. I became a more confident public speaker. I learned networking skills and improved my interpersonal communication skills. And I also learned a lot about leadership. And those were some things that I initially entering the program didn't expect to learn. The cohort was also amazing for me. I was able to build relationships with professionals who work in different counties and in different aspects of education. We only have one school psychologist at our school, and it was nice to be in a cohort with school psychologists and to learn from them and learn from their perspective. I still have so much to learn, and I really haven't begun my career at all as a BCBA, but the program has provided me with a really strong foundation. Talking with other BCBAs that have not completed or that have completed programs from other schools, it's clear that the program is really well thought out and intricately developed and planned out to ensure that you learn all the components of the task list, and it really helps you to pass the exam. And it's all based on data. So I can't speak highly enough of the program. There are just so many things that I have learned, and I've grown in so many ways professionally. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Lillian and Bethany, for sharing. And please stick around so our participants can ask you guys questions as past students in our program. I'm sure they'll have lots of questions. I want to take a few minutes just to talk about the different advantages. I think Lillian and Bethany did a really great job explaining the cohort model that our students, go through the entire program together. So with that cohort model, you have natural study groups that occur. I've heard that folks really did not expect to have lifelong friends after going, when they came into the program, weren't expecting to have lifelong friends, but folks really stick together after they go through the 2 to 3 year program. They have a lot of ways to connect with each other. Our program is also really focused on ABA and education, specifically K through 12. So a variety of different disabilities, not just one type of disability, like not just about autism. We are the only graduate school of education in Maryland to offer this specialized certificate. Another advantage of our program, I think that our alumni were talking about this, was the practicum experience. We do provide you with a BCBA. We have lots of BCBAs within the community who we have vetted and who've been with us, really some of them since the start of the program in 2013. That practicum experience, we also provide the course, which I explained to you guys. It gives you that group supervision along with the individual supervision. So the other piece of the practicum that I believe is an advantage is, although we have a nice core curriculum for the practicum experience, we also individualize the practicum experience. So like anything else in our field, we start with an assessment of our students' skills. So students will complete an assessment of their skills before they meet with their individual supervisor. And from there, they build goals for their supervision experience, for their fieldwork experience. So although there is a curriculum associated with the practicum, it is very individualized to each graduate student's experience. Students who complete the ABA program pass the BCBA exam above the national pass rate. As of this January, 61 graduates have taken the exam and 59 have become board certified. This is a 97% pass rate. This also includes the first and second time candidates taking the exam. The BCBA also publishes their first time pass rates, and they publish it just for folks who've taken it the first time. our ABA program, the pass rate was 76%. And as you see in my next line there, the pass rate overall is 63% across the nation. So you can see that it is a tough exam and our pass rate is above the national average. We also, the 2020 pass rates have not come out yet, so we are anxiously awaiting them and looking at the data that I've collected on the students who graduated from the program. That pass rate is going to be much higher for 2020. Lillian and Bethany both talked about the faculty. I mentioned that they are all board certified behavior analysts. And one advantage of the faculty that we have, they are all behavior analysts working in the field every single day, and then they come to class and teach our students at night. So they have some real world experience that they are able to share with all of our students. So not only are they credentialed, but they also have the background and the experience, the day-to-day experience to share with our students. Okay, next slide. The other thing I just also want to say about the faculty is many of them have also been with us since the start of the program, so they have seen the growth of this program over the years. So since the program started in 2013, we've had 76 students graduate from the program. Lots of different backgrounds, special educators, behavior specialists, school psychologists, counselors, administrators, instructional specialists, representing within Maryland, 11 different school systems, as well as in DC. 6 cohorts have completed the program, 7 and 8, cohorts 7 and 8 are currently enrolled. We have 59 graduates are board certified behavior analysts. 33 of those graduates are licensed behavior analysts in the state of Maryland. So if you reside in the state of Maryland, there is licensure within the state of Maryland to be a behavior analyst. So all folks who get board certified in Maryland should also move on to getting licensed in the state of Maryland to practice ABA in the state of Maryland. We have an additional 5 graduates who are preparing to take the exam in 2021. And I mentioned about the current cohorts. Okay, next slide. So a question I get a lot from people who are interested in the program is, who is your ideal candidate? First, I would say, is the demonstration and desire to commit to the field of applied behavior analysis. I think it was Bethany who is mentioning, or Lillian who is mentioning the workload within the program, not to scare anybody, as she said. I thought that was a great quote. But really, it is not. This is not a program just to get 4 more letters after your name or another certificate. This really is a program that is designed for folks who really want or desire to commit to this field of behavior analysis. Another criteria is understanding all of the requirements to become board certified. I've talked about a few of those requirements this evening. Really understanding all of those requirements that are outlined by the BACB is very important, although we as a program will guide all of the students who are in our program on those requirements. It is still the students' responsibility to understand what they are and ask questions when they don't understand. Another criteria is the ability to commit to 2 to 3 years of intensive graduate coursework. This is a tough program. It is doable. You see Lillian and Bethany have made it out the other side and they were successful, but it does take time and the willingness to study hard. And then obviously demonstrating and meeting all of the admission requirements and willing to work and study hard would be our final requirement. Okay, so now I'll turn it back over to you, Seon, to talk about the requirements for the program, the application requirements.
Thank you, Dr. Marder, Bethany, and Lillian for a wonderful presentation. So now we're going to continue by going over the application requirements. First, a 3.0 or better cumulative undergraduate grade point average. Applicants must submit a completed application, which can be found on our website. The application fee is $80. Next, official transcripts from all post-secondary institutions attended. We need all official transcripts, including institutions you may have taken courses but did not receive a degree. Next, an essay and a current resume. 2 letters of recommendation, and finally, the GRE is not required for this program. And also, please keep in mind an applicant must have a master's degree from an accredited university or the equivalent from a foreign institution in one of the following areas: education, psychology, or behavior analysis. There are a few additional steps you need to take in order to complete the application process. If you're an international student, you must submit a TOEFL or IELTS score. And if your degree was completed outside of the US, you will need to complete a course-by-course evaluation. Additional information can be found on our website. The current tuition for the SOE is $833 per credit for face-to-face courses and $882 plus a $15 per credit technology fee for online courses. And please keep in mind the tuition for the practicum courses will include additional costs to cover supervision fees. For additional information on tuition and fees, please visit the SOE website. And if you're interested in applying for financial aid, we strongly encourage you to apply for financial aid when you start your application. We do offer a limited number of partial need-based scholarships for fall and spring semesters. The application deadline is April 1st. Please visit our website if you have any questions relating to financial aid. Thank you for attending the Postmaster Certificate in Applied Behavior Analysis virtual webinar. At this time, we would like to open up the floor for questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm currently getting my master's degree and I have another year to go. Would I still be able to do this after I graduate?
So I can take that question. This is Dr. Martyr. Thanks so much for your question. We definitely, once you graduate from your master's degree, then that would definitely make you, that would provide you with that, hitting that criteria application. So I do encourage you to apply once you've, completed that degree. But still reach out and ask questions, before you finish, and we can help guide you along the way for sure.
Okay, and I just finished a class on applied behavior analysis. And for special education, would that count, or would I have to take your course?
So what we do is once you are accepted into the program, we are able to look at transferring credits. Obviously, we would have to make sure that the course is a verified course through the BACB to make sure you have that background. And our policy is that you can transfer up to, I think it is 3 or 6 credits, but I might be wrong. But it's definitely at least 3 credits. So you would have to meet with your advisor and sort of talk that through. But as long as it is a verified course through ABAI, then we could definitely pursue with that, could you count those credits?
Okay. And I would be traveling from the Eastern Shore. So would you have stuff online, or do we have to do face-to-face classes?
So our program is designed to be face-to-face. We are also looking at some opportunities for the Eastern Shore. So please do reach out to me by email to discuss that, because there have been some cohorts that we are setting up with the Eastern Shore. So I definitely would like to share more information as it's coming in with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Next question we have is from Kelly. Are there any online opportunities to complete this program? I think you may have addressed that a little bit in your last answer, Dr. Martyr.
Yes, absolutely. So we are a face-to-face program. We are a traditional in-person program. Of course, with the pandemic, we have been online because we are not having any in-person courses. And so we've learned a lot really over the last, I want to say it's a year now, right? But we really have learned a lot about offering some of our coursework online, although we are a traditional face-to-face program. So, so I wouldn't, because we are designed to be face-to-face, I can't say that we have online opportunities, but we are ever growing and expanding. So please do keep in touch with us on that.
Great, thank you. Next question we have, is there an accelerated option?
So I'm not sure, Katie, that's a great question. And I think I might need a little bit more detail. Are you asking about, like, if you don't do the practicum, could you be done in 2 years? I think I need information on that question. I'm sorry.
Hi, this is Katie. I was asking in terms of, like, I know you said it's 2 courses per semester. You're not offering them over the summer. If there was a way to, like, if it was done in block scheduling, if they were like more condensed courses. I just got finished a master's program with 8-week courses, and that was finished within a year.
Yeah, it's so we are designed to be a 15-week semester, so there's no way to sort of shorten the semester, and I wouldn't want to take more than 2 courses a semester anyway, because of the intensity of the information and just the volume.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. And then also, I just want to jump back to the previous question about transferring of credits. You, Soon help me, thank you. You can transfer up to 3 graduate level credits into a graduate program at Johns Hopkins. There are so many questions coming in. I hope you guys are going to help me with this. I can't read them all. This is great.
Thank you, Dr. Martyr. The next one is, what days of the week are the courses offered?
So right now the courses are offered on Mondays and Wednesdays. It's not guaranteed to always be Mondays and Wednesdays. I will tell you, for the last 8 years it has been Mondays and Wednesdays, but it really depends on the instructors who are teaching the program. But we try to stick with that schedule because we like things to stay the same. So that's where we are at the moment. So again, Mondays and Wednesdays, but not necessarily always guaranteed. And our courses start at 6 p.m. and go to 9 p.m.
The next question we have is, I'm a kindergarten inclusion teacher in Howard County, so would I be able to do my practicum with kids in my own classroom, or would I have to go elsewhere to do the practicum?
So Anitra, that is a great question. We actually do an application for our practicum experience. So one of the first slides that I shared was about the practices that a behavior analyst implements in a classroom, like conducting assessments and so forth. So our application, we go through and we look at your place of employment. We look at the practices, the ability to implement behavior analysis, the support you have in the school setting, and we make sure that you hit a whole bunch of criteria to make sure that the placement is appropriate for you to practice as a behavior analyst and to have a supervisor there. So typically, I would say that most folks who work in K-12 settings are able to do their practicum in the place of employment. Again, I can't guarantee that because we have to go through the application process, but I will tell you over the last 8 years, I've only had 1 or 2 students who could not do their practicum where they were employed, and that was because it was not a school setting. So typically, we are able to make it work within a school setting.
Thank you, Dr. Martyr. Next question we have, do we have to get approved for the program before we apply for the needs-based scholarship? So you can be in applicant status when you're applying for the needs-based School of Education Endowed Scholarship. You do have to have a FAFSA form, the free application for the Federal Student Aid form, on file as well for the academic year you're applying to. And next question we have, I think we jumped around a little bit, from Patricia. It seems a lot of your focus is on students with special needs and autism. While I work with a lot of students with IEPs or ELL students, not all my students are. How applicable is the program to general education students?
So that is an excellent question. And although the focus is more in special education, the program and what you learn is applicable to general educators as well, or general education students as well. So we have had students, graduate students who are teachers in inclusion settings and have been able to successfully apply strategies in their settings as well with both gen ed and special ed students.
The next question we have is, how often is a program offered?
So the program is offered, a cohort starts every single fall semester. So typically students, applicants apply in the spring to be accepted into the following fall semester. So we only start in the fall. We don't start in, throughout the year. It only starts in the fall semester.
And the next question we have from Allison is, I'm currently teaching in an ABA-based preschool program in Montgomery County. Would that count as a practicum? And would I still need to register for the practicum coursework if this is the case?
So great question, Allison. And again, I think I mentioned a few questions ago about the practicum application. So in order to do the practicum with us through our program and the courses that we offer, you would need to apply for practicum to get that approval. So I couldn't say like right now on the spot, yes, you could. If you want to do the practicum experience or the supervised experience on your own, outside of the School of Education, because again, there are electives, so you don't have to take the practicum electives, you would be able to do that. Of course, you would need to make sure that you have a BCBA supervisor. You may have a person at your place of employment who could be your BCBA supervisor. So you would just have to work out all those details on your own. And of course, that information is provided from the BACB. And, if you were in the program, we would help you and answer those questions for you, but we would not be providing you with the supervisor or setting up the practicum experience. So if you wanted to do practicum or get the fieldwork experience on your own, it wouldn't be called practicum, it would be fieldwork experience. You are more than welcome to do so, but you would not need to take the coursework with us. It is not required. But to get certified, it is required that you complete the hours, the fieldwork hours. I hope that makes sense.
Hi, I have one more question about transferring credits. Do you have to take the course? Does the course that you want to transfer have to be taken within the last 5 years, or could it be taken within the last 7 years for it to be able to transfer?
We really look at that on a case-by-case basis. I will say typically within the special education department, we really look at within the past 5 years. That's kind of been our sort of rule. But again, you would have to meet with your advisor once you're accepted into the program and work out those details. So again, it just really depends because, if it's more than 5 years, new research comes out and to support the coursework and the learning. So those are important things to consider.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, next question we have from Chris. For those of us on the Eastern Shore, you said to.
I think
sorry.
Tanya.
Yeah, I think we went on mute somehow. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
For those of us on the Eastern Shore, I'm not sure you saw that question from Chris, excuse me. Do you want us to email you directly or?
Yeah, so please do email me directly. I think my email was included here. I'm going to put it into the chat. But please do email me directly and we can start that conversation for sure.
Thank you, Dr. Martyr. The next question we have from Sarah is, I would have to drive 2 hours in order to take classes. Do you provide room or board? Should I look into hotel information?
So that is a first. I've never gotten that question before. We do not, we are a graduate program. We don't really have a room and board sort of situation, but we could provide you with information for a more, if you wanted to move closer to the campus, we could provide you that information for sure. We could definitely share, but let's continue that conversation, thinking about your distance and where you're traveling from.
Thank you, Dr. Marder. The next question we have here is from Angela. When is the application deadline for fall 2021 admission? And I believe that is enrolling admissions for the program.
Yeah, it is rolling admissions. I think do we have a priority deadline, or is it just all rolling admissions?
I believe it is just all rolling admissions.
Yes, it's rolling.
So I would say the sooner the better.
The next question we have from Anitra. I heard you say that the 7 courses equal to 21 credits and the practicum equals to 12 credits. So would that be a total of 33 graduate credits?
That is correct. And then Anitra also asked about fall-to-fall face-to-face classes this fall. Our hope is that we would be face-to-face in the fall, but we really, as we all know with the pandemic currently, nothing is ever set in stone. So we're not really sure what it will look like in the fall, but we're hoping to be face-to-face for sure.
Next question we have, is there a limit to the number of applicants who are selected each year?
So typically our cohorts are anywhere between 50, the number of students in our cohort is anywhere between 15 and 20 students. These are excellent questions. I'm so excited. We have had so many questions this evening, so please keep them coming. And if you have any questions, I think Lillian and Bethany are still available if you have any questions for students, past students.
Sorry, I have a question. It felt like a lot to type in the chat, but for either of the former students, if you could share a little bit about how tolerable or manageable, excuse me, please have a quiet voice, the program was while still maintaining like your life, being a family, a mom, all of the things.
Great background noise to go along with that question.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay, don't be sorry. Lillian or Bethany, do you guys want to take that?
I can go first. And so it was tough. Definitely a lot of weekends that you're dedicating or as much time as you have free into working on your assignments and getting your readings done. I have 2 children and my husband's in the military, so he was gone for half of my time in the program too. So it was really tough, but it's definitely like the professors are very supportive. And I know Dr. Marder was one of those that I had to come to her and tell her and talk to her. And she walked me through it, encouraged me to continue. It's doable. It's something that you really have to make it a priority and really work on that time management and it's doable. It's hard to say, but I would say yes, it's doable. Even if you're a full-time worker and mom, it's doable. It's not easy, but it's definitely worth it. I hope that's helpful.
I agree with everything that Lillian said. I have a daughter and she's 3. And it is doable. I'm actually pregnant right now and I studied for my exam while I was pregnant. So that is doable as well. It is a lot of hard work. And I think for me, just finding like a schedule of certain times that I was going to study or dedicate to coursework throughout the week was really helpful for me. And then I was just I just had like a routine. I do think, I know a lot of people had questions about like face-to-face classes. I feel like for me personally as a learner, going to the face-to-face classes versus the virtual classes, I feel like I was able to really focus and concentrate because the last part of our cohort of our program was actually kind of during COVID, like March through June. So we sort of experienced learning like virtually through Zoom. And I preferred going to class. It was nice to meet with different people in my cohort and ask questions and have that connection and support there. And then, like I said, just being really focused and not having, you know, my daughter running around while I was like trying to learn. That really helped me. It was like quality time. So, but it is doable. It's a lot of hard work, but it's doable.
Thank you, Lillian and Bethany. Our next question is, in addition to being an educator, what are some other positions that someone as a BCBA pursue?
If you are on social media and you follow the School of Education, you can see some of our alumni stories specifically from the ABA program that talk about different experience. We have one graduate whose picture is actually on our front slide, our first slide, our title page. Her name is Alicia Wolf, and she is a entrepreneur. So she started a company, and she is going out and providing consultation to different school districts from following a wide variety of topics, from classroom management to interventions for learning. We have folks who become coordinators of programs or supervisors. We also have folks who go into more of the ABA agency work, where they are working in homes with families. So a wide variety of positions.
Thank you, Dr. Marder. And our last question for today is from Sarah. To prepare for the BCBA exam, is there a prep book or practice test or test group to provide direct guidance on what to study to pass the exam?
So great question, Sarah, and definitely we have our last course, which is called Applications in ABA. And the second half of that class, we spend time talking about study skills, what to study, what content areas to study. We also, from that course, develop practice tests that align with the exam and how many questions are in each content area. So when you finish that class, you get access to a few practice tests, but we're actually practicing throughout the entire program for the exam. So starting with the first semester, we practice answering questions that are similar, or questions that might be found on the exam, from weekly quizzes, as much as our students may complain that we give them weekly quizzes. That really does prepare you for the exam. And most folks have told me, now I see why you make us do all these quizzes every semester, because it did help me plan for the exam. But really that last class in the final year is we really spend the time talking about, again, the content areas, what you need to study, and how to study. What are some strategies for studying? So we spend a lot of time going over that.
All right, so we are out of time. Thank you again for your interest in the Johns Hopkins School of Education. And on this page, there are some contact information for admissions-related questions. Please contact my colleague, Tanya McMillan. And then any program-related questions, Camila Mika Sims.
Also, Soon, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I also added my email into the chat. It's tmarder1@jhu.edu.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Marder. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.